Okay, so let's start. So we have to start with like how to create web pages in Java, right? That's one big thing, how to create web pages. So as of now, we just have a general idea how core Java works, how to create classes, objects, handle exceptions, deal with database, and obviously a collection framework. But when it comes to web pages or web programming, that's something which is quite different what we did so far. So it's not just you can create directly any project and it will work. No. So you would be needing some kind of configuration or server as well. That Tomcat Apache server we would be needing. Okay. So but even before that, we need to understand the whole flow of web pages, how it works, how to create that. So I took some reference from my previous projects because I don't want to create everything from the scratch. This will take time. So I'm going to open some certain packages, uh, pics, and from here I think we can go with the yeah. Okay, so this is our very first image which shows client and server interaction. Okay, so what's happening in this image? So client is as of now we are talking about client. So in this case, let's say it's browser. Okay, so from browser we tend to send requests to the servers. So client sends request, it goes to the server. How it goes? We are using some kind of URLs. We need some IP or domain, all that IP address and stuff we need it. Only then we can interact. So even if you have to write, let's say you are opening Google homepage, so google.com. So that's a domain name. So you have to enter something. That request goes to server, and on the server, multiple apps are running, right? It's not just your project or some two other project. It depends upon the project server configurations and hardware details. Only then you can deploy multiple projects on it and run them smoothly, even in case of multiple requests are coming up for the same project. Okay, so in simple terms, this is one of the high level picture. So client sends request, that request goes to the server, server detects the request and redirect to the particular application. These are actually web apps. So application 1, 2, 3 are running on that server. Server redirects that client's request to one of the application, and then whatever happens, that response gets generated to the client. So this is one simplest high level picture where client and server interacts. The server is actually we are going to use it's Apache Tomcat. Apache Tomcat. Okay, so save this. So this is a typical view of any web application where client and server interacts. Okay, then after next image, let's see what is that. Then we have a category like how many types of web applications are present in development. Not in Java. Still we are not talking about Java, we are talking about in general. Like how request flows from one end to another and how many types of web applications are present. So we have two categories on broader level. Either it could be a static web application, which is just using HTML and CSS. That's it, nothing extra. Or if we don't know Java yet, so there was one technology before that, CGI. It is also known as Common Gateway Interface. So there was this technology or the language which is used to generate some dynamic contents. So client is same. We have a server and client request for let's suppose we have one admin page or login page. So there are multiple admins out there. So client from client side, that's browser. So three different users logged in from different locations. So admin 1 request, admin 2 request, and admin 3 request. What they are requesting? Login functionality. This is before or beyond, or it's like in on 80s or 90s I'm talking about, not 2025. It's 80s or 90s. Okay. So when this was there, so thing is if request 1 is going to the admin 1 or admin 1 request is getting processed at the time the servers were not that high configured or not the hardwares were that so sophisticated. So the server takes time to process that request. Just let's suppose it takes 5 seconds to process first request. So what happens in that case? So when simultaneously or concurrently if admin 2 requests, so that admin has to wait, and same goes for the admin 3. So they create a queue. So admin 1 took 5 seconds, then second to 10 becomes 10, then third takes 15. So 15 seconds were taken just to verify the user credentials, whether that user is legit or not, like kind of user authentication is happening, and that took 5 seconds, just assuming. So this was one of the biggest, you can say, drawback of this language, because this was not a concurrent request level. So every request is going one after another. And next was, every request is a process. Process means we have some softwares running in our machine, and process takes huge resources of our operating system or RAM. And since every request is a process here, so that takes time to process. So they were heavier, they take lots of resources and plus time consumption, and definitely everything is affected by that. So things were slow, but it was, yeah, definitely running, but not that with that speed what we wanted. So yeah, that was common scenario. If we have to create dynamic web application before Java, this was the scenario. So there were two biggest disadvantage of using it. Though it was there, we can see things were running. Okay, so next image must have what Java provides. So if later these guys introduced this technology which is known as servlets. Even before servlet, there was one technology, applet. But applet is a part of a core Java, so I'm not going to cover that. So thereafter, servlet was introduced. So servlet was actually a combination of Java and HTML code. So you have to write Java code, plus you can write HTML tags as well. So it was hiding all those disadvantages which was earlier present in there. Let me check if it's there in next image. Not, it's not here. So let me write. So first thing is, every request which you send from here, every request in servlet is thread. So threads are lightweighted process. They're actually part of process, and they take less resources as compared to process. So in a single process, we can have multiple threads. So servlet request goes as a thread, and it supports multi-threading. That means no request will wait; they will get processed simultaneously or concurrently. So these were two biggest features which overcome the previous language disadvantages, and that's where Java became popular. So that means we have to understand how servlet works and how to write simple servlets, and definitely we will do some database connection as well by using servlets. Why we need to learn servlet? Because doesn't matter which framework you will use for Java in Java language to create any web application. Ultimately, that framework is using servlet to request and get response from the server. So servlet is a base, and like we did core Java to understand basic syntax of core Java, something similar is happening here, and we need to understand what is servlet, how to request, how it takes a response from the server, how it process. Definitely not much in detail because it's one of the I won't say obsolete because still it's in development. So, but it's one of the legacy project. This technology is almost 25 years old, more than 25 years, might be 30 years old. But still, this is the base for any new framework will come. That's how all frameworks are written. Underlying every class is using Spring Boot class I'm talking about is using servlet somewhere in the memory. So that's why it is important because this is the base of it. Okay, so servlet is there. We call this servlet API. We know API what it's like a collection of something, and in simple terms, I wrote collection of classes and interface. So we will see bunch of classes and interfaces which we are going to use for our requirements. And definitely, servlet is used to develop web applications, web apps. And servlet is nothing but Java code and HTML. So if you have tried it like this way, ABC servlet.java, so it's definitely going to be Java class where you will write some Java code and definitely a combination of HTML code if you want. Not a hard and fast rule, but if you want, it's possible that you can write uh, HTML as well in your Java code. So that we might see in future. Okay, so this is done. Now thing is, if you are saying APIs, that means there must be some library which is present, which is supporting all these stuffs. So this is Servlet API package. So what does it do? It has multiple packages, and we need to focus on only two root packages. One is Java X.Servlet and next one is Java X.Servlet.http. So these are the packages which frequently used by servlet classes. And inside this root package, Java extra servlet package, we have an interface whose name is also servlet. So three terms are coming in differently. One is servlet API, next is servlet package, and next is servlet interface. So that's how it works. And inside this root interface, this is like in core Java we have object class as a root or parent class or object. Likewise, same here, servlet acts as a root interface. And this interface provides five method declaration: init, service, destroy, and two non-lifecycle methods. First three are lifecycle methods. We will see what does it mean, how we can prove that these are lifecycle methods, and two are these are some basic methods which are known as non-lifecycle methods: get servlet config and get servlet info. So that's an overview of what is servlet API, how many interfaces are there in this uh, servlet interface, and we have two broad categories: lifecycle methods, that is init, service, destroy. Init for initialization and service and destroy. Okay, and this is how your project looks like, a web application. So yeah, it's different what we did so far. So again, just to create this image, it will take 10 to 15 minutes to explain things. So I'll save my time and take it this way. Okay, so let's create this package project, and then we'll come back to this image. So how to create web application? So this is the same project we were using earlier. Let's create the new project. So new, then other, and type web. And you guys will see there's option dynamic web project, this one. So select this one, click next. Then we'll get multiple options. So first says project name. Okay. So what's the name there? There will be no show. First servlet app. Okay. So I'll say first servlet app. Okay. Then don't touch anything, just be okay with that and click next. Then we have this fine, leave it as it is. Next. On this image, don't forget to tick this box, this generate web.xml file. We needed this file badly, so we have to make sure that this file is there when this project gets created. So generate this one. That's it. So what we did here, we just gave the project name, that is first servlet app, then next, next, and this checkbox is selected, and click finish. And yes, open perspective, so Eclipse will open things as per the web application. And if you see the difference between core Java project and web project, you can see a blue icon something, or dot. That's actually a globe icon, so it's really small, so you can see as a dot. That's for web application. And if you expand, that's how it looks like. Okay, so this is how it looks like. So, and at the root under src main web app, this one you'll find this web.xml file. Okay, so I've explained all these folders and structures in this image. So when you expand, you will see these things. So the first one is definitely a project name. We also call this context name. Again, this is a term used by web developers who work in web technologies. So context name or project name, it's same. Next, certain file which is for Eclipse and some web services. So I combinedly call this Eclipse stuff, but this is for web service. If you want to create any web service, the related file goes inside these folders. But as of now, we don't need them. We are going to create a simple web application which will interact with database. Okay. After that, if I show you here, we have Java resources, and inside this we have this src main Java. So src main Java is a place where we will write coding. The actual Java code goes here. So Java code goes inside this package, Java resources. Then we have libraries, which is used by Eclipse. If I expand libraries, you can see we have JDK 17 or Java 17. So it is included here under libraries. Okay, this is done. Next is JavaScript resources, again used by the Eclipse, and these are some inbuilt things. So because this is one of the latest version, so it's not explicitly written here. This is taken from previous version, some maybe 2020 version. So it's not here. Then we have one folder web content. Here we don't have web content. It's uh, here src and web app. So this is how it looks like. We have web app, and under web app we have web app. So web content, this is a location where we put all the information like CSS, HTML, JavaScript, images, properties files. You can just think of whatever your web page required, and that thing goes inside web content folder. So again, this was from previous Eclipse version. So now we have SRC. So that can reduced. If you guys have question doubt, you can ask me in between. Meta NF for not here. Let us show here. So meta NF for if you want to give some meta information, some data about your project, so you can wrap here inside meta. By default, it gives you some manifest file. So if you want to put some information during build, so you can give it here. We don't need it here, so you are not supposed to use this file for now. So ignore that. Next one is web-inf. Web-inf stands for web information. And under this web-inf, you will see if you want to create one external library folder, so you can also create that, and it's there, and you can add all the libraries here as well, so that gets binded in your project, so you don't have to externalize it. So whatever library you need, just copy and paste, so that can be used within your project. So if you think we have like 5 or 6 library which should be binded with your project, I don't want any external connection, so you can copy paste those libraries here, and that can be used by the Java code. Next we have web reduction file. So this is an important file because we are going to use this file for configuration purpose. So if you have to configure servlets, filters, listeners, and some context level configurations, some root level context, if you want to configure, that goes inside this web reduction file. So this is a typical structure of your web application. And this is done. Next, see what we have. Okay, yep. So this is the important part, that which uh, Tomcat we needed. So here, because I was using Java 8 while I was teaching this, this is one of the previous old image. Okay, so we needed Apache Tomcat, the server. So let's do this right now. Okay, so we have to download Apache Tomcat. Let's do one thing. Instead of using this, let's use Eclipse. What it suggests. So going for window preferences, there's a server time, at Apache. Let's use 9. I don't want to go for later version, but I'm just trying it out because I haven't tried this yet. So we have to make sure that this Apache Tomcat 9 should support JDK 17. Let's try this one. Next. And yeah, we have this thing. So you can see we are getting option that this is your server name. Okay, let me show you what I just did again. So window, preferences, and under this you can find out there's option server. Expand the area. Okay, so we have this option server. Click on this runtime environments, and there's a button add. Once you click, it will list out multiple servers: Apache, Basic, IBM, Oracle, Red Hat, Raisin, SAP. So these are mostly commonly used servers and supported by Eclipse. So I need an Apache Tomcat, and then it needs the version. So I'll pick Apache 9. Okay, Apache 9. Still not sure whether it will compatible with it or not. So let's see. Then next, and after this it says either you can browse it if you have already installed Apache Tomcat, so you can browse it, or you can download and install it. So I'll say I'll download it. So Eclipse will download that library for you, or Apache Tomcat for you. So click on this, download, accept it, finish. It will ask me where to put it. So this folder is fine. I'll just select folder. So it will download inside this. Say next, finish. Okay, there it is. Apply, close, and again going here, preferences, server. Now we need to. It's not here. Server is here. Okay. So after adding or downloading that server, externalize. Let me show you that directory as well. There it is. So Eclipse just downloaded 9.0.17 version in our system. Now we need to connect this with Eclipse. Eclipse just downloaded it. It suggested that if you're going for Apache Tomcat 9, so 9.0.17 is the supported version with Eclipse. Okay, now we need to add that server back to Eclipse. So if you do that, how to go? Window, Preferences, Show View, and there you will find servers. So open it. It will open this image. Click on this, and it will ask again the same screen that which server. So I'll say Apache 9. Next, this is a project, the web project. Then finish. Okay, let's try to run this again. So start. Right click and start. And it says server startup in 396 milliseconds. So what we just did, we have added server. First of all, we have downloaded server in our directory, and that server get connected with Eclipse by using this screen. And you can see once you do that, the one more package of project will pop up, which is for Apache Tomcat. So project is running fine, and I can verify it from the console. Let's try console and parallel to this one. So server is up, our project is running. That's great. So how do I know my project is running or not? By default, this Apache Tomcat runs on 8080 port. So if you have to verify, I can always say this URL. Let me save this. Okay, not before that. Saved 5. So for our screen, we used Apache 9 and JDK 17 we have used. So I've already added this some basic stuffs here. So if you want to access your project, so URL will be localhost colon 8080. 8080 is the default port. 8080 is the default port of our server. So here we are, and then 8080. So what we are getting, it's saying HTTP status 404 not found. Okay, cool. And let me do one thing. I'm not sure is it working or not. So just to verify and to show you guys, if I'm requesting something, it says 404. That means server is running, but it cannot find the default path. Okay. So let's stop the server. Server stopped. You can see status is stopped, and you can verify in the console as well. It's not clicked it. So close and this one. So the console should be empty. Only then you can verify the server is permanently stopped. Now, if I request this port or request port again, now it won't say 404. It says site can't be reached. That means it verifies something was running, but when we requested that source was not there on the server. Okay, so this verifies that server was running for the project. Fine. How do we verify that something is running or not? So what I will do, under web here, under this web app folder, I'll right click, new, and I'll create a HTML file. Okay, let me show you again what I just did. Inside this web app, don't just randomly create anywhere. Okay, again saying, don't just randomly create anywhere. Make sure that you are inside web app. Inside on web app, right click, then new, and pick a file, HTML file. And I'll name it index.html. Next, and finish. So this is the default structure for our HTML file, and inside body tag, I'll simply say some header tags, and let's say hello from index page. Done. Okay, done. And now what? Let's run this server again. So what you have to do? How to run? right click, run as, and no more Java application. We are done with the Java application. Now you have to right click on your project, run as, and run on server. And this will ask which servers. By default we have just one server, so that's fine. Select next, and yeah, make sure that your project is on right side. So configured means the project will be loaded on that server by default, and Eclipse will do that for us. And just click on finish. And see guys, by default it loads this page. Okay, so our project is running and you can see we have all that things coming up. So I can take the screenshot of our very first web page, which is coming from 8080. And this 8080 is a port number. Localhost is our domain, which is by default is there. And if we go live, so we can change domain name. So this is our domain name, and 8080 is the port name, port number. Okay. Okay, so we are we are okay till here that we are able to run our application, and by default Apache Tomcat looks for index.html. The only condition is it should be inside this web app folder. So whatever, as I suggested earlier, whatever file you needed for your project, HTML file, CSS file, JavaScript file, images, or any properties, or any type of file you needed, JSON files, XML files, that should be under this web app, because when your project goes up in the server locates this folder. That's how it is configured, and whatever files are there, they get binded in the project in that war file, war, web archive. Okay, so this is great, it's working, so we can move forward with the next step. Next topic. So as of now we just saw HTML file, but the thing is we are here to discuss about servlet, the actual Java code running on server. That's the case. So classic this, and here we are talking about how to create servlets. So servlet is nothing but a Java class, but by using some unique classes, we can see this in a working state. So we have three ways to create servlet: by implementing servlet interface directly, by extending this class generic servlet, that is actually an abstract class. You can also do that. So you have to create a simple Java class and implement or extend this functionality, or by extending HTTP servlet class. Okay. So let's start with by implementing servlet, the first one. So going back, it is already started, it is synchronized, so make sure that it is stop. So I'll say stop the server, and here it says destroying protocol, so server is down. If I right click, make sure that everything is clean on console. That double verifies that server is down. If you do any change and when you try to run again, it might end up with some errors. So make sure if you create any Java file or any kind of file in your project, server should be down. Okay, so the very first step is, or the very first way to create servlet is create Java class first of all. So I'm going to create a Java class, and before that we need a package. Where is the package? Oh, I can't see that. It's here. It's not here. So I'll type other package, then next, give it the package name, so compact servlet. That's my okay, not servlet because it's already a class. So I just say com.pack, then finish. So my package is ready. Inside this package, I'll create my first servlet. So right click, create a Java class, and let's say first servlet. And since it's Java class, so it looks simple, nothing special, simple Java class. Now I have to convert this Java class into something so our web server can read it, because web server doesn't understand Java classes. For this we have a Java compiler, JVM. These things reads Java classes. Server doesn't understand .java file, uh, at least as of now. So we have to do one thing. We have to provide certain class which is understood by the server. So that is implementing one interface servlet, and it is not coming. Why it's not coming? So it's not right here. Okay. So one more thing I have to do. You can see, guys, I cannot import this servlet. Uh, what do you call interface? So we need to do what? We have to add service or server here. So let's do this. Right click on your project, properties. Let's see, can we edit? Target runtime. Play, play close. So once you do this, you can see server is also added under libraries. Earlier it was just Java. Now we have server runtime. Can you verify? Yeah. Now we can see. See, now we are getting option servlet. So that means this class is not from the Java directly or Java library. It is a part of Apache Tomcat. You can see it is again nothing, just a combination of jar files. And there is servlet API jar. If I extend, which package we're dealing with? Java x servlet.servlet. So there's the package, and servlet is a Java class here. So at the end, doesn't matter what you are using as a server, that is a combination of Java classes. Even all these classes working together to create an environment for us, and we call that environment a web server. Okay, great. Now, as soon as you import this interface, this gives us option to, because we already saw this, that it has 5 methods, 3 lifecycle, 2 non-lifecycle. So when I import this, it will give us that option to see the methods coming from servlet interface. Let me just rearrange them so we can say say in the same sequence. So init, service, destroy, and 2 non-lifecycle methods. So for timing, just ignore uh, 2 methods. We will focus only on lifecycle methods. So let's do one thing. Let's print certain messages inside init method. Copy it. This is inside service method, and next one is this is destroy method. Okay, so now we have 3 methods with something which gets printed on console. Here we should see all these messages, but this is not done just by creating Java class and implementing one servlet. We are just halfway towards the creation of servlet in web project. We have to do one configuration as well, so server can understand this is just not a regular class, because if you see from Java developer perspective, so it's a regular Java class which is implementing one interface and overriding all 5 methods. That's it. So how it is unique from other classes? By using some configuration, and that configuration goes where? Inside this web.xml file here. So when you open this file, it looks like this. So we have 2 tabs, so don't get distracted. Okay, what is that? How to configure? You have design phase where you can see all the designing part, or you can go for source. Here you will see all the raw XML lines. So how does it knows which file to be loaded first? So you can see the tag inside it, welcome file list. This is a tag which is read by the Apache Tomcat, and it knows that we have a bunch of file names, and whatever file is present, I will load that file in a sequence. So initially it goes for index.html, then JSP, then HTML, then default, default JSP, and default HTML. So it goes from line 10 to line 15, and whichever file comes up, it will load. If it finds there, so it will load that in browser, and then we can see it on the browser. So Luckily, we have created HTML file, and by default, as I said earlier, Apache Tomcat always locates index.html files. This is a default file looked by every web server created so far in the industry. So it doesn't matter it's Apache Tomcat, Webfly, or WebLogic, or any other server you can think of. They look for index page by default. So that's the standard practice. So we just followed the same practice and we created index.html. Okay, so this is the Excel file where we also configure Servlet. So before proceed, let me check whether something else is missing or not. Yes. Okay. Okay, we can do that later. So yeah, that's how we uh, register our Servlet. This is how it works. So let's do this. Set web.xml file. So start with Servlet tag. Inside this, you have to give two subtags: Servlet name and Servlet class. So Servlet name could be unique, could be anything, but should be unique. So my class name is first Servlet, so I can use the same name. Up to you. You can also call the same name, but that should be unique throughout this XML file. Okay, and next is Servlet class. So here you have to give the fully qualified name. That means package plus Java class name. So what's my package name is com.pack. Is missing. And then dot, and what's my class name? First Servlet. Okay, so this becomes the class name. So my first part is ready for the configuration. Next part is Servlet mapping tag. This one. And this also takes Servlet name, and this should be the same name which we have used above. Copy it, paste it, and next we need to give the URL pattern. So whatever URL you give here, this you have to enter in your web browser. So if you have to understand, call goes from browser, it goes here. I will type slash first in the web browser URL. It detects, it checks the Servlet name. Line 24 goes to line 19. It matches here. Then whatever names matches, it will try to locate that folder or the package and the class, and then finally it reaches to this Servlet. So that's how we trigger, because we don't have a mechanism. Earlier when we were writing code in Code Java, there was a way to create object by using new keyword. Here we don't have that luxury. You cannot write main method, right? We haven't created any main method, still things are working. So we have to give some way to detect that this is the Servlet file and we cannot call it directly. So there's a way to call it through the configuration. So we just did the configuration. Okay, looks fine to me. If something not goes wrong, so this should work. So right click on the project, run as, and run on server again. Yes, that's a server. Next, project is there already. Finish. Okay, so this is here. Nice. Now we need to verify, is it responding when I type FIRST, entered? Oh, page becomes empty. That's fine, because we haven't printed anything on web page yet. But if you see the console, this is here, and I can clearly see it is saying inside init, inside service. Okay, so that is great. Going back and requesting it 1, 2, 3. 3 times I've requested this URL. Going back, and you can see 3 times service got executed. So it means for every request, service is there to respond, and it always executes on your request. Init only execute first time, the very first time. Then only service is the place where you write your logics, your code. Whatever business logic you need to require to create or generate, that should go inside this service method. Destroy comes when your servlet is getting destroyed by the servlet. So like it's like a cleanup task. So if you want to do some kind of cleanup task, that code should go inside destroy. So let me check if I can try to print that something from the destroy method. So It's closed. Okay, no worries. We can again show view, and server is here. Let's drag it. Okay, let's try to stop it. And yeah, once you stop the service or the server, you can see after doing something, a valid shutdown command was received, something is pausing, some more messages, stopping service, Catalina, and then inside destroy method. So just before server goes down, it destroys the servlet as well. And that's how we can see things are working fine. Okay, so this is our very first servlet, a simple Java class, but we gave a different way to execute it through web.xml file. So let me take a screenshot of it. And where is that? Okay, this is our servlet. This is not a class, so let's start with the class first. So as of now, we are not focusing on non-lifecycle methods, not required at all. We just want to get an idea how things are working in servlets. So copy it, paste it. Let's say 9. Wow. Get servlet for method Eclipse. Okay, so the class is ready. Then the configuration, because this is image, you can always zoom in, so it won't hide anything. You can always zoom and you can see the content. Plus we have the configuration inside WebExcel file. So this is the configuration we did to load the server. So that means if you create 10 servlets, you have to write 10 different tags for that servlet inside web.xml file. So that's one of the biggest pain when this you know this technology was you can say made public for the developers. So this is one thing which they hated a lot, that we have to create lots of configuration in web.xml file. Just to call that servlet, we need to write that much code. As I said, this is old technology. Lots of code has to be written just to do certain tasks, and that's a proof it's working. But yeah, some more coding is required, and all these things are, you can say, abstracted in future frameworks like Spring Boot. It doesn't need all this configuration. You won't see any Java class, and with just one call, everything looks fine. But yeah, this is one of the oldest technology we learned. Okay, this is one way to create servlet. One more way I mentioned, it was by using HTTP servlet. So this is like mostly used and more robust way to work with servlets. So let's create it rightly. We won't use the second way, it's not required, just a waste of time. So when to create this time, see, initially we did what? We created a Java class and then we implemented servlet. But if you create a web project, so Eclipse gives you a luxury that you can directly create a servlet. You don't have to write that much code like creating Java class, then implementing or extending certain classes. No, you can directly create servlet as well from the option, like we create Java classes, packages. Same way you can create servlet. So this time I'll go with that approach. So new, and there it is. See, servlet. Click on that. So everything remains same. Just give the class name. Let's call this third servlet because we bypass or skip the second one. So third servlet. Next, next. Here you have to make sure that you have unchecked this constructor. Don't skip this, guys. Make sure that you are following the steps and just use do get method. I'll tell you later why, but yeah, we needed just this do get method and finish. And we will get this screen. So I don't need this much code. So let's move this. I don't need this much. Remove this and even this. So you guys can see I removed pretty much everything. So you guys have to do the same. Just clear your class. Don't just start working without clearing the code. Because by default, Eclipse loads lots of stuff. We don't need it for initial or our first class. Okay, and here I'll put a message. Says out. Say inside do get of third servlet. Okay, fine. So we have a servlet, but and how to register? We know this thing inside web.xml file. So just for time being, I'm copying it. I'll suggest type your code, don't copy paste. You're still learning. So third servlet, I renamed it. Same name should be here. Just did that. And this is my class name. So updated that. And URL button. So I'll call this THIR. So you can call it anything. It's your URL, which you have to mention in your web browser. So I'm calling it third/third. You can call it anything, ABC, XYZ, whatever. Server is already running. So let's, oh, it's not running or what? So, okay, stopped. To stop from here as well. Okay, console is empty. Now let's verify. Run as, run on server, double click, then next, finish. Okay, server started. And this time I'll request slash third. Enter. Page gets empty because we are not printing anything on web page. Still we have to learn that how to print on web page. But our request was successful, no error or nothing. And if we check the console, yes, we are getting message inside to get of third servlet. Now if you guys compare, it's different what we did earlier with servlet. Even you don't need all these methods, still you have to override init service and destroy and give the implementation of it. Here we are just giving one method, do get, and printing something. Ignore all this part like what it is taking as an argument, what exception it throws, how your class looks like. Just focus on if you have to create a servlet, this is the best approach. Create it directly by using Eclipse feature and use it. Okay, server prints this. Okay, so this is done, and yeah, let me add the configuration as well. Configuration is here. Repeat. This is wrong. Web.xml file. Okay, now let's have a look what else is here. Okay, this is your homework. So yeah, have a look on this, what these things are. So we are done with the first day of Servlet. This homework. Let me check what other details we have. Two Servlets. Leave it, no, not today, not today. It will be too much for today. So what we just did, we created servlet and stuff. Now let's understand the code inside it. This part. On Monday we will start dealing with form handling and stuff and try to create database connection like we did core Java, but this time we will send request from our web applications or pages. Okay.
We don't have class tomorrow?
No, not tomorrow.
Okay.
We will do weekend classes only when I'll think that we are getting late for our upcoming class. Then we'll do that.
Okay.
Not regularly. Fine. So we have this structure. So this is fine. We have a same syntax, class, name, extends, some parent class. This is fine. But I can see actually two arguments inside this method. HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response. Okay. So even before that, we need to understand this HTTP servlet class, and we know how to check that. We have already seen that Oracle website. So HTTP servlet Java doc. So Oracle is here to help us to understand this class. And let's pick this part. Okay, so this is its class signature. We're talking about HTTP servlet, and this is the thing. It's class signature, and let's see what it says. So provides an abstract class to be subclass from this suitable for website. A subclass of HTTP servlet, that is in our case is third servlet, must override at least one method, usually one of these. So if you are subclassing it, yeah, we can also say subclassing. So if you're subclassing the sub HTTP servlet, so the rule says at least you have to override one of the method. Do get, do post, do put, do delete. In our case, we overrided to get method. Just give me what guys. Yeah, okay. So these are some methods which can be used to perform the very best part, that is CRUD operations. So it means the are you create or insert, this is our read, this is update, and this is delete. So we are going to perform all four basic operations through web pages. I don't think so I will like write all code. I'll give something for your homework, but in next class we will try to perform these CRUD operations to see how to interact with database through web pages. So before I'll proceed with that, I'll suggest these things. You guys have to try, uh, if you don't know yet how to create HTML pages, and before that I always suggest this thing, HTML. If you are new to HTML, refer this website. That's why I'm taking 2 days break, so you guys have enough time to practice the tags which is here, and this will hardly take 2 to 3 hours to cover up. I don't want to cover every single thing. Let me highlight what you guys should cover. If you don't know what is HTML tags, only then cover this up. Okay. So if you don't know what is HTML, how text works, classes, and from here, this and this part, this whole section. Okay, so if you don't know how HTML works, so definitely go to this website because on Monday we are going to use not much but definitely some text from HTML. We are going to create a form. So to understand some form and HTML code, you guys should know basic HTMLs. So elements, attributes, headline, paragraph, styles, then tables, list, block, inline, div, classes, HTML ID. Okay, rest you can ignore. So let me even, but okay, let me keep it. But just go through the boxes which are in yellow section. So on your last, I mean, in this weekend time, try to cover up this section and things from right side, forms, attributes, elements, types. You need to cover all this. So that's I'm taking some time. So you guys can practice by your own what are tags and apart from it, check out what is thread, what is process, meaning of idempotent, difference between get and post, and then create a HTML form. So this comes at the end before you guys have to understand like what is HTML, how to write tags, how to execute on web applications, and once you have a basic idea by learning from the left side, then go for the right side. And these tags, HTML form and all the tags will help you to create HTML form. So just create this form and these are some tags. Again, no need to use all tags. Button, checkbox, email, file, hidden, number, password, radio, submit, telephone, next. Oh, sorry, text. That's it. Yeah. So things from here. Not all, but you have to cover. This will come in a third section. Once you are done with basics of HTML tags, then HTML forms, and then inside HTML form you have to use these input types. So this is third part. So start with this part, have some idea, then understand how to create HTML forms. Once you're done with this, okay, let me also give numbers. Case this, then two, and then this comes up. Okay. Okay, guys, so that's it for today. Any questions?